Yeah.
We've seen countless rumors and reports, but now it is official. The Big Ten has canceled their college football season. The Big Ten has now canceled their college football season and hopes to play football in the spring. And that now brings the total to 41 of the 130 FBS programs to not play college football in the fall. The Big Ten becomes the first Power 5 conference to cancel their season. They join the Mountain West and the MAC as an entire conference to cancel, and they join individual teams such as UMass, UConn, and Old Dominion to also cancel their fall college football season. And of course, it is expected later today that the Pac-12 will also join the Big Ten, which would mean that 40% of the Power 5 will have canceled their college football season for this fall. And that would bring the grand total to 53 FBS programs to not be playing college football in the fall. And guys, I know this is very disappointing. It's not very shocking because we've had so many rumors and so much speculation over the few days that we knew that the Big Ten was more than likely going to cancel. You saw so many reports, no one really knew what to believe, but now we truly do know what to believe. But it doesn't make it any less disappointing. While we knew this was probably coming, while we expected this, it doesn't make it any less disappointing because this might mark the end of college football this season. There's a lot of questions surrounding this now, guys. The Big Ten is now going to be done. The Pac-12 more than likely going to follow. That's two major Power 5 conferences that are out of the equation, and you can't help but wonder, what will the remaining three decide to do? We know that the SEC and the ACC have voiced their concerns and voiced their opinions, saying we plan on playing. We plan on playing football in the fall. ACC medical experts have come out and said there is a way to make sure their players are safe, that it is a feasible thing to do to still play football every Saturday. The SEC, of course, we know the South takes their football very seriously and differently than any other program and conference across the country, so they're going to do everything in their power to find a way to play football. But you can't help but wonder if this decision by such a big-time conference in the Big Ten, and then the Pac-12 possibly later today, will have any sort of effect on them. It's great to say that you want to play, but will you actually be able to do it? We know many analysts had said, no one wanted to be the first conference to bow out. And the MAC decided to assume that role. The MAC decided to say, we don't really care. We are going to jump the gun. We are going to opt out of this college football season. The MAC was the first to do it, which then resulted in the Mountain West to do it, which then resulted now in the Big Ten and eventually the Pac-12 to do it. Other people have now said no one wants to be the last conference out, which is why I believe that today may have marked the end of this college football season. And even if we do have college football, guys, say that the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, and then the rest of your group of five, the American Athletic, the Sun Belt, who says they want to play and follow the SEC's lead, you can't help but wonder, if they all play, will it matter? How do you crown a national champion? How do you crown conference champions? Because there's always going to be a little asterisk. There's always going to be a little smudge next to anything these teams accomplish because not everybody is playing. And I look at this, guys, and it still blows my mind. Again, we knew it was probably coming, and again, it doesn't make it any less disappointing. But how did we get to this point, guys? How did we get to the point where nearly half of all college football teams have canceled? Remember, if the Pac-12 does it, we're up to 53 out of 130. And I think the first thing that we look at here, guys, is leadership. Major lack of leadership. And we don't want to point fingers at anybody, but it starts up at the top with Mark Emmert as the president of the NCAA. You all know that you've watched our channel. We know we're not a fan of the NCAA. We know they're very inconsistent, whether it's punishing programs for violations, whether it's regarding transfers. Because remember, if you're an elite transfer, you're guaranteed immediate eligibility because you bring in that money. If you're mediocre, you will not because no one cares about you. And the NCAA isn't going to get much profit and recognition if you play. Doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. That's just how the NCAA operates. And Mark Emmert has done nothing to help this situation. And the conferences themselves have done nothing to help in this situation. You know, guys, the Power Five especially, they should have banded together immediately to try to find a result, to try to find a solution, to get these players and these coaches and these fans out there for college football in the fall. Because I can tell you guys, while the Big Ten hopes to play in the spring, while Division III, Division II, FCS, all those guys hope to play in the spring, it's not going to work. And that's not trying to be pessimistic. Spring football, to me, is just not feasible. There are tons of coaches out there saying, if say the season were to end in March, you start in January, you end in March. March to August is not enough time for these players to recover. Of course, you can't do a year-long break. You can't start playing football every spring now, because that would ruin the entire system. That would ruin the entire schedule. You're going to have players, more players, choosing to opt out if you play in the spring, because they've got to prepare for the NFL draft, because they don't think it's worth it. How are you going to handle eligibility? Incoming freshmen, incoming recruiting classes. Are you going to have National Signing Day in February, in the middle of a season? There's too many logistics and too many flaws to the spring plans that we might as well just be better off waiting an entire year and restarting in the fall, next fall, 2021. But back to the leadership. Got off on a tangent on the spring. The Power Five, they should have banded together, but they didn't. The Big Ten decided to take matters into their own hands. They were the first conference to come out with their updated plans, the 10-game conference-only slate. They didn't really consult with any of the other conferences. And when the Big Ten made that announcement, it forced everybody else's hand. What do we do? The Big Ten did this. What are we supposed to do now? So everybody else followed suit. They made their adjustments. And this is another reason why this blows my mind, guys. The Big Ten, the Pac-12, the SEC, the ACC, they've all made adjustments. They've gone through and reworked their schedules. They've reworked locations. They've reworked dates. And now we're about to throw all of that out the window? We have had months to prepare for this, guys. As soon as the NCAA tournament and those conference tournaments were canceled for basketball back in March, we should have started preparing for this for college football. We were still 5 or 6 months out, sure. But we knew it was a very strong possibility that we would have to face this coronavirus obstacle when it came to college football. And we did not prepare for it. We did not handle it in the best way at all. And these commissioners didn't do anything, guys. It's really, to me, a matter of peer pressure. We're back in the middle school or high school days. We're giving in to peer pressure here. You all know we went to lectures about not giving in to peer pressure here, and here we are with our millions of dollars given to these presidents, to these athletic directors, to these commissioners, millions of dollars to these guys, and they're giving in to peer pressure and not learning how to use basic communication skills. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not that difficult. And the Big Ten chooses to do this, guys, and I'm curious to see what everybody else chooses to do. But I'm not pointing fingers at the Big Ten for the reason that this is happening. But I do think that the Big Ten could have handled things a little bit better. I think all of the conference commissioners and athletic directors could have handled this a little bit better. They've used different medical experts. They've used different sources. They've tried to keep everything internal within their conference. I don't know why. Maybe because they want to be better than the other conference. Guys, when it comes to playing college football, when it comes to trying to have a season, you're not trying to outdo another conference. You try to outdo another conference on the gridiron, on the field. And you can't do that when you don't even have a season. It doesn't make any sense. Another reason, guys, it doesn't make any sense to me is why don't we just let the players choose? Why don't we just let the players choose if they want to play or not? You've all seen it, the trending hashtag. We want to play. Hashtag let them play. Hashtag save college football. Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback at Clemson, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, is leading this charge. Trevor Lawrence doesn't even have to play college football this season because I can guarantee you he'll be the number 1 draft pick in the NFL draft. But he wants to play college football so bad. He wants that for his other college football brethren across the country. He's leading this charge, and no one's listening. Why not let the players sign a waiver? Why not let them take the risk? Because as many have said, If you send these players home, they have just as great a chance of catching this virus than if they did at school. They probably have a better chance of staying safe and staying healthy within that locker room setting, within that team setting, than if you sent them home. And again, to me, it doesn't make much sense that 13 of the 14 Big Ten programs are holding in-person classes. They're holding in-person classes, and they will expect these athletes to go to class, but yet they can't play football. We can go to class. They're going to go to parties. They're going to have tons of social interaction. Everybody is, but you can't play football. It just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't think to me that anybody has thought this through entirely. I just don't understand, guys. I just don't understand. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And again, to reiterate, I don't think the spring season is the answer. I don't think the spring season is going to work. The Big Ten has just made their announcement that they will not be playing college football in the fall. The Pac-12 is soon to follow, more than likely. Again, that will bring the total of 53 FBS programs that will be sitting out. 53 out of 130. 12 more, and you've reached half of the FBS that will be sitting out of this college football season in the fall. Again, there are many other conferences that hope to play. There are many other conferences that are going to more than likely play. I have a hard time believing that the SEC is not going to play football. They're going to have to find a way. But at what cause and at what point do we sit back and really look at it and say, does it matter? I want football as much as you guys do. I want football as much as anybody else. But you can't help but look at it again and say, an SEC title isn't going to really mean much when there's no one else playing. You're not going to have a national champion. You're not going to have bowl games. Again, any football is better than no football at all. But you can't help but look at this college football season, guys, and think, is it a lost cause? Is it a lost cause? It's extremely disappointing, guys. Again, I'm almost at a loss for words. We knew this was coming. We knew the Pac-12 was going to do it as well. But again, it doesn't make this thing any easier, and it doesn't make this situation any easier, because now the remaining conferences that have yet to bow out are in a very, very difficult position. A position they probably would not have been in had all the conferences worked together from the beginning. But regardless, guys, here at the Gridiron Expert, we're going to keep you up to date. We're going to continue to provide you content year-round, regardless of the situation. As of now, we're going to take a minor step back because we don't want to come out with our updated records for the remaining conferences until we actually have a plan in place. And if we get a plan in place, we'll come out with those records. If they decide to cancel too, we have tons of filler content to get us through till maybe the spring, or worst case scenario, until next summer and next fall. We've got you covered here at the Gridiron Expert. We always have, and we always will. Today, a very historic and unfortunate day for college football. A day where our leaders have failed us. A day where our leaders have let us down, athletes, coaches, and fans alike. And hopefully this will be the last time that they do fail us. But until then, guys, just sit back, enjoy this wild ride as best as you can. And we will continue to monitor this situation. In one way or another, guys, we will get through this. We will get through what has been one of the wildest and most historic off seasons in college football history. We will get through it. And one day, hopefully sooner rather than later, college football will in fact return to the way that we used to have it. So guys, I want to thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to stay tuned here for updates, for more news, for more analysis. Like, again, we're going to take a small break while we continue to monitor these situations, but we will be back very, very soon. A historic day for college football, but better times are surely coming ahead. So, guys, thank you so much again for watching us here, and we will see you next time very soon right here on the Gridiron Expert.